Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Greenleaf Season 2, Episode 10, and the name of this episode is called Not Complete. Man, wow. That's all I got to say. This was a really good episode, everybody, and I'm going to try my best to group everything so I don't make this a long review. But if it gets long, bear with me. It's just that I don't really want to miss anything, but I'm going to try my best to keep it tight. So, pretty much the episode opens up. Lady May is, calling Mavis. Mavis has left town, with her artist, Alonzo. And I just love her answering machine service is funny because she is just so direct with it. She's like, look, call me if you got any bookings for Alonzo, but don't be leaving a whole bunch of mess in my voice box. So if you got something to say, say, and if you don't, just hang up. Have a nice day. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing, but it was somewhat along those lines. And at first, we saw in the last episode, Lady May called her to let her know about Mac, and she didn't leave a message, but this time she did, and she lets Mavis know that that they're going to be scattering Mac's ashes at Mall's Lake on Saturday. And she says, I know that me and you have been gifted for so many years, and we got a lot of grief between us. Life is full of tears. But hopefully, this can actually be a new beginning for me and you to develop a closer friendship. And she says the ceremony, pretty much the service is going to be at 5 p.m. Next, we see that Grace actually spends the night at Darius's house, and didn't go to church on Sunday either. So she's spending time with Darius, and but she slept in the room and he slept on the couch. And pretty much, she's saying that, and like, she pretty much tells Darius that, look, I've never slept in on a Sunday before, and she's saying that, look, just after what I've been through, I just can't walk right into worship. And of course he understands. And while they're sitting there talking, he lets her know that he got a job offer in New York. And we can see that Grace is happy that he got an opportunity, but then she's unhappy because she doesn't want him to leave. So we see that she does have a connection to him. And, once she gets up and she leaves, he can definitely tell she's bothered. And she was saying that, look, if you really want the job, then you should take it. At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. But then he's like, Grace, what's really going on? And she was saying that, I was thinking that, we were really building our relationship, and then all of a sudden now it's about to, we're about to be distant. And he's like, we're in a relationship? And she's like, well, we do have something. We have something. But then he kind of lets her know that, look, I gotta, take this. I mean, this could be a smoking gun for me. I mean, out of respect to you, I already have a smoking gun right here, with you, being the associate pastor of Calvary, killing your uncle who's a known pedophile, and, that can be, a smoking story. But, out of respect for you, I'm not going to put that out there. I'm not even going to touch it. And she pretty much says that, yeah, I do want my story, so don't do that. So she says that, look, do what you got to do, and, thank you for the sleepover. And we see throughout the episode, they even show them Skyping each other, and, he, lets her know that he decided to take the job in New York, and she's pretty much told him congratulations. And he was saying that, look, we can kind of keep like a long distance relationship going, maybe by the time Sophia graduates, from college, you can, move up to New York. And she's like, hey, you never know what happens. So that's where that ended. But then I'm going to come back to them later. Next, we actually see Jacob has taken on a new mission. Since, Bishop, since the bishop told him no about his idea about co-pastoring in Calvary, he decided to take his land and build his own church by, engaging, the population, engaging, the community. So what he's doing is literally standing on bricks, giving a service. And he's giving a service right there, right across the street from Calvary. So he's doing street preaching. He's like, look, I'm going to build my church from the ground up. I'm actually going to do what God told me to do. God told me that I have to feed my sheep. Not just feed them food, but feed them with the knowledge and the power of the Lord. And that, and then we actually see that everybody's there. Then we see that that Bishop and Lady May show up, and he kind of looks directly at the bishop and says that yes, God told me to build it, and He told me to build it outside the temple. And I was like, ooh. So he took a direct jab at his father, like, yeah, you shut me out, but God got another plan for me, and I'm now going to follow what God has for me, and I'm going to see where this goes. And we definitely see that this is definitely rubbing the bishop the wrong way. But pretty much, we see that the bishop and Jacob start talking. Immediately, Jacob's like, look, I'm doing what I can. And he said that, look, I will be there, but that's all he's getting. And quite frankly, I really don't care about Mac. I really don't have nothing good to say about him. I'm glad he's dead. The better off we are. So it is what it is. And he says that right now I'm focused on a master plan, because pretty much what I'm doing is I'm gonna build a real church. I'm gonna build a real church, unlike Triumph. And he's like, oh, really? So you call what you doing a real church? And then he pretty much lets him know that, look, your mother needs you right now. Because we saw from the last episode, Lady May revealed that secret, to Bishop about, Daddy McCready molesting her. So he now sees May in a different light. And, the bishop is pretty much trying to get Jacob that, look, you really need to be there for your mother, and you really need to be, she really needs you right now. And he says that, look, I got what I got going on here. I got my own plan here. I'll be there, to support her as far as the service and everything, but that's all I can do right now. And then he pretty much lets him know, and Bishop definitely was right on this. He says that, first of all, little boy, you do not know how deep this goes. And he says that, look, you're going to regret this, because what you're doing is that you went from Spanx, you went from basic skinks, but now you taking the same road as basic, of basic skinks straight to hell. And that's when he walked off. But then we even saw that the bishop, hugged his grandchildren, Zora and the little boy, and said that, look, regardless of what's going on, we'll always be family. And, of course, Zora's like, I know, Grandpa. So we thought that was cool. Then we actually get a scene where Sophia is actually preaching to the little saints, and she's doing this piece on Eros versus Agape. And I thought that was really great. And we see that Sophia's looking at her, and she's really happy. Next, we see that Charity and Lady May are having a conversation. Kevin is still MIA. Nobody knows what Kevin is. Kevin's not answering his phone. Kevin just completely checked out. Later on, we see that Charity calls Kevin, and she is like, hi, this is Charity, your best friend, the mother of your child. your former wife, what is going on that you would just disappear like this and not say anything or not say a word? Like, this is not right. You have a family here. You have responsibilities, and you're just going to just check out and leave everything to me? It's not right. I'm like, Charity, yeah, he's wrong for not talking to you, or maybe not, clearing the air. But Charity, you were practically just putting the baby on him so you can go off to Nashville and do your thing with Jabari. It's like, after that divorce, it was more like you put him in the friend category, and you know that Kevin still loves you, and that Kevin still really wants his family, meaning you and Nathan. You know that he's going through all of this, and it's like, you just totally forget the fact that his life has been turned upside down since this whole situation, about his sexuality has come to surface, and you asking for a divorce. And it's just like, at this moment, I'm just like, Charity, yeah, I feel where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, you're not understanding where he's coming from right now. And due to the fact that, we also know that him and Aaron had sex, he's still coming to terms with his sexuality. So he's not comfortable in his own skin. And I even said this in my last review of the last episode, that Kevin is definitely dealing with a lot of psychological issues. And that's definitely, something that a lot of us go through who are coming out of the closet or are dealing with, our own well-being. And it's getting to the point where it's just too much for him, because he really wants his wife, but then he also has these urges. So he's trying to sort himself out, hopefully. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but yeah, that scene really got me. So next we actually see that Jacob has a plan, and Zora is helping him out, because I think she's also, pretty much what she did is that she pretty much videotaped him preaching, and what they're going to do is that they're going to set up an account with him online where people can actually go fund him, give him money and charity to help build his church. So if he puts himself out there as the preacher and engage the population and engage the people, the money will come, and you'll have what you need to build that church from the ground up. So I thought that was pretty smart. But then we see that Carissa really ain't all the way in with this. Carissa is used to the glamorous life. Now that they are struggling like hard knocks, and we don't know, it's like you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You don't know where your next dollar is coming from. So she has those insecurities, and it's insecurities that we all deal with. But we can definitely tell she's not all in with Jacob's plan. Next we get a scene, and I'm going to say this here, Zora really pissed me off in this scene. She was so nasty and so rude, Nene leaks, straight up. Like, she was just really nasty, because what happened is that Sophia and Roberto, her boyfriend, they pretty much introduced Zora to Roberto's friend, and they go out bowling together. Zora is just very, she's acting very stuck up, very standoffish. He's trying to talk to her, but then she's immediately shutting him down. And like he said, he wanted to show her a trick with the bowling ball, and she was like, you handle your balls, and I'll handle mine. Thank you. And I was just like, you are trifling. Like, oh my God. Like, I was just totally turned off. Like, she was just really nasty. And even Roberto was like trying to talk him up, saying that, he's a really smart kid. He's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. And she says that, and she's like, oh, how great. But then Roberto's like, yeah, but he's also nice though. So keep that in mind. He's very nice. So, Zora kind of picked that up like, oh, you kind of throwing shade at me right now. So what do you mean? Well, at least he's nice. So she later on she kind of holds on to it, and then we see, you know, towards the end of the date or whatever, you know, the guy pretty much comes to Zora and says, you know, it's nice meeting you, and she's like, yeah, nice meeting you too. And I was just like, oh man, like see, she is a piece of work. She really is, and she's really messy. And we definitely see that she still wants to be with Isaiah. So her and Sophia get into it, because Sophia was like, look, you know, he was a nice guy, like, what's going on? She was like, first of all, why, you know, like, what's the deal? I mean, why did you, you know, set me up with that dude? I mean, how am I supposed to mate with that? And then Sophia was like, well, excuse me, I didn't think mating was a part of the deal. And she's like, oh, really? You know, oh, so mating is just only meant for the cool people, huh? I'm like, Zora, you are the last thing from cool. If anything, you're stupid, you're sneaky, and on top of it, you are completely naive and full of yourself. And the fact that you still want to talk to that boy, he's going to take you on a ride, girl, that I don't think you're ready for. But because we definitely see later on in the episode, they've still been talking to each other. He's still been texting her, and eventually she gets on the phone and talks to him, and he's like, you know, I miss you, baby. She's like, I miss you too. I'm like, okay. All right. Keep it up. You about to get that Rocket 88 from Eterna, and it ain't going to be a song either. So we saw that go down. Alright, then we actually see that, you know, Lady May and the Bishop are talking. You know, he's talking about this 7-part series that he wants to do. And, you know, Lady May got her plate full because she's going to be doing she's going to be the presider of Max, you know, like, service, of Max, you know, going home service. I don't even want to say going home because I think Max going to hell. Just saying. No tea, no shade. But she's in charge of the service and everything, so she's getting that stuff together. And we also find out that there's a check that came through from this woman named Rochelle Cross. And he cleared it with the secretary that the check went through, and the check, you know, was good. So he pretty much later on goes to May and lets her know that, look, you know, she actually wants to meet with the both of us, you know, and she gave a very big contribution. So, but Lady May says that, look, I really need to focus on what I'm doing right now, so you should just go and, you know, and handle that. And we see that the deacon does go, and we actually see that Rochelle is actually played by the beautiful LeToya Luckett. And LeToya Luckett was serving sexy, you know, wiggleness from the head down. She was snatched. And definitely, you know, Pastor Greenleaf noticed her. And she, in the date, pretty much explains to him that, I was married for 5 years, and that whole time I didn't go to church. So this is me settling my debt with God, and this is me giving a contribution. So then he starts talking about, you know, a person giving that contribution, you can be a part of the bishop's round table, you know, selected group of people. And she's like, let me tell you something. The only table I'm worried about is the table that we're sitting at right here. And we can definitely tell she was that moment she was checking him, but before that, she was straight flirting with the bishop and was doing it willingly. I mean, she was definitely, you know, serving it, and the bishop was just loving the compliments. I mean, he was just smiling ear to ear. He just loved that he was getting all of this praise and adoration from this woman. But then again, she's like, no, she ain't trying to be about no Bishop Roundtable or nothing like that. So, in a way, she's kind of also saying that she's interested in you. She ain't really interested in being a part of like some, church organization. So, definitely I got my eye out on Rochelle. Rochelle's beautiful, but Rochelle definitely got an agenda. So, we got our eye on you, girl. Then we also see in this episode that Charity goes to Aaron and she asks Aaron, can you actually look out, try to find out what's going on with Kevin? I've been trying to call him and, I haven't heard from him and I don't know what's going on. And she's saying that, look, it's just messed up that he would just leave us like this. And Aaron agreed. He's like, yeah, leaving the both of you. I mean, I don't get that. That's definitely messed up. But he said that, look, I'll see what I can do. So we see that he later on leaves a message to Kevin, and he lets Kevin know, like, look, I know what you're going through. Believe me, I've been there. But I'm letting you know that I'm here for you, whatever you need me. I'm in your corner. Look, just let me know where you are. And if you don't want me to tell nobody, that's fine too. And I'm like, okay, Aaron, you want to get him alone so he can continue to push you, huh? But then again, he also wants to be there for Kevin because he knows that Kevin's going through it. Pretty much what I mentioned earlier. So we got that going on. Then we also see that he lets Lady May know that he has to go. The question is, does he really have to go? Or does he know where Kevin is and he's going to go meet up with Kevin? I guess we got to keep watching to find that out. But, she's thinking he's going back to Memphis. But is he really going back to Memphis? I guess we have to see. Then we get a scene with Jacob, Carissa, and Charity and Grace. They all are having dinner at Jacob and Carissa's house. Reconnecting with them or whatever. They're talking or whatever, and this is they pretty much at first was talking about Grace, and then Carissa with her messy behind starts again like, oh, so don't you think you may need to see somebody and all of this? And this time Grace was giving it back to Carissa, and I was so happy because Carissa is always slick with her mouth, and Lady May said this to her in season 1, that sometimes your power is best in stillness. She don't know when to just be still and shut up. She's always running off at her mouth and always popping it when she needs to shut it. Because then she starts going, well, there's nothing wrong with seeing a psychiatrist. I mean, a lot of people do it. I mean, what, you think you're too good to see something, to see someone? She's like, no, I don't think I'm too good to do anything. It's just that I don't think I need that. And I'm like, thank you, Grace. Let her know. So then they start talking, and, Charity starts opening up about being a single mother and all of that, but boo-boo, you divorced your husband. I mean, yeah, y'all gonna co-parent, but he's going through it right now. So she's like, right now I'm a single mother, and, all of this, I don't know anything about Kevin, and, Carissa brings it up like, yeah, this is so unlike Kevin. I mean, what's going on? And she's like, why did y'all divorce anyway? Like, and then like Kevin, and then Jacob's like, yeah, I miss my little brother. What's going on? And she's just like, and out of just nowhere, she just blurts it out. Kevin's gay. And they're like, what? And she's like, look, Kevin's gay. And then like Carissa's like, why are you laughing? She's like, I don't know. It's just like, I never said that before. It never came out of my mouth. Kevin's gay. And she just chuckling away, and then the next thing you know, Grace is laughing, and then Jacob is laughing too, and then Carissa's like, you all are crazy. This is not funny. But I was getting why she was laughing. I mean, it's just like, it finally dawned on her that, look, Kevin's gay. It is what it is. But she's saying, but then like Jacob's like, but it's a hard life, when you're in that lifestyle. I mean, it's not a walk in the park at all. And then they get to the bottom of it as to why are they really there, meaning Charity and Grace. And they pretty much says that, look, things are really crazy right now, and I'm all for what you're doing, Jacob, but do you have to do it right across from Daddy's church? I mean, what are you trying to prove here? I understand that you're trying to, build your thing, but do you have to do it right across the church from Dad? And then Carissa starts in like, oh, wow, really? I mean, all of us didn't get an opportunity, to leave home like you did and everything like that. And Grace was like, I was 17 when that happened, and you don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, she doesn't. But Carissa's always running her mouth. And she's like, look, right now the family needs you. The family needs you. And she pretty much says that, look, take my job. I'm thinking about going to New York. So why don't you just take my job? Come back to Calvary, be associate pastor. Take my job. Do what you got to do. But then he's like, no, God does not give you the power of preaching to be about just earning money and making a living. You preach to actually help change and save the lives of people who have fallen. And he's like, I'm on a mission, and I'm going to stick with my mission. And I am not worried about, and then we actually see that Charity is pissed off too, because now she's seeing that Grace is going to leave again. And cause, and then like, it just completely goes out there. So, Carissa's like, oh great, so you gonna leave again like you did before? And she's like, first of all, no, like, first of all, I was 18 when that happened. You don't know what you're talking about. Know your place and stay in it. And I was just like, thank you, Grace. Clap back at Carissa, because Carissa's always running her mouth. And we can still see Carissa, even though she's standing by Jacob in this moment, she's really not all for what Jacob is doing. She's all about security, and she's all about the glam. And we're seeing that she's out of her element, and she's just not really for what's going on here. So, but then, while they're still arguing, she's letting Jacob know, like, look, somebody has to be there. Dad is sick. Mom is going through it. Someone needs to be there. And he's like, someone needs to be there to manage things. And Jacob's like, yeah, somebody does need to be there to manage things. And it ain't gonna be me. I'm like, boom. Then when they get back home, Charity goes off on Grace that, oh, so you think you're going to up and leave and go to New York? First of all, when you left 20 years ago, you left us here to fend for ourselves. We had to work double overtime to keep things going after what happened, and we never were good enough to fill that spot. We tried to fill your spot, and none of us could ever fill it. You think Jacob didn't want to leave? I wanted to leave too, but we couldn't. We had to stay. We had to be here for the family. And as a matter of fact, you're not going anywhere, because it's your turn now. I was like, woo, yes. So it really got real. So we actually see afterwards, Darius and Grace meet up, and we actually see that Grace actually gives him the story, the scoop of what he wanted. She lets him know about the whole situation with Mac and her, and what led to her killing him. And he gives her the story, and she just says that, look, do what you're gonna do with that, but just keep me posted if you choose to release it. Give me time so I can let my family and everybody else know about it and to expect it coming out. And he says, fine, I got you. And she was saying that, I wish you all the best in New York. And he says, well, I decided not to take the job. And we actually see that he decided not to take the job because he doesn't want to leave her. And they finally make out with each other. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And Then the ending scene is at Max Max service. They got the ashes there. If anything, Bishop Greenleaf wanted Grace to actually come there, but Grace at first was not all about that, because you know how she felt about Mac. But then he was saying that, you know what, it's not about Mac. You need to be there to support your mother, because there's more to the situation than you know. Because he now knows, based on what happened on the last episode, he knows what May is going through. And he's telling Charity that, he's telling Grace that, I know that you and your mother may have had rifts in the past, but maybe this can actually bring you two closer together, because right now she needs you. And we see that Grace actually shows up to the service, and Lady May is happy that Grace is there, and we actually see that Grace actually cries after they scatter Mac's ashes, and that's where it ended. So she actually decided, she can't run anymore. She's gonna have to stay, and she's gonna have to see things through. So that's where it ended. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But yes, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of Greenleaf. And from the look of the previews for this season is gonna be, the rest of the season is gonna be awesome. So I'm so here for it. So until then, everybody, take care.